Libra, welcome to your astrology reading for the month of May. And so before I get started, the way that this is structured, it's going to be most applicable for your rising sign. So if you're running your birth chart, you do need to know your birth time and place, as well as your birthday, which you probably already know if you're watching Libra. And it's going to be your first house or your ascendant. You should see ascendant in there. It is your rising sign. It's the same thing. And so just to talk a little bit about the energy of May. So there's a lot. This feels like it's a lot of improvement over the month of April. So if April was a difficult month for you, and it might have been just because of the whole eclipse season, we had the eclipse in your sign at the end of March, and then we had it in Aries early in the month of April. And so probably lots going on when it came to your relationships and just yourself within relationships. And so what we're seeing here is now we're kind of shifting out of that energy. We're really moving into, well, we're already in Taurus season, but Taurus and Gemini really highlighted here. And so what this comes down to for you, impacting your 8th house and your 9th house. Your 8th house is all about transformation. So really taking those lessons that probably came to light during the month of April. What kind of transformation needs to take place? What do you need to let go of? 9th house, this is all about growth and expansion. So thinking of things like, if you want to expand your knowledge base, is it learning a foreign language? Is it traveling to a foreign country? Is it maybe going back to school, getting some sort of degree or some sort of a higher advanced degree? All of those things are going to be highlighted here for you during the month of May, as well as Pluto in Aquarius. And so at the beginning of the month, here on the 2nd, Pluto will station retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. And so for right now, it's in Aquarius. It will retrograde back into Capricorn. And so the energy that we've been working with over the last 3-ish months, since January 20th, when Pluto went into Aquarius this year. So when it did that, when Pluto went into the sign of Aquarius, Aquarius is all about liberation, and Pluto is the planet of transformation. And so there was a lot of things changing, but it was meant to change you for the better. It wasn't meant to hold you back in any kind of way. And so what you've seen, you probably, if you've been paying attention to the world at all, there's been a lot of external change, a lot of old paradigms just coming to light where all the flaws exist, how it just can't function the way that it has been. And really, if we're going to have any kind of functioning world, things have to change. And so that's part of this Pluto energy sitting in the sign of Aquarius. But now with this retrograde, it's a lot of that. Instead of external changes, this is a lot of internal changes here. So this is a lot of internal reflection. And so where Pluto sits for you is in your 5th house. And so this is all about children, hobbies, passions, your creativity, however you enjoy spending your free time. So maybe even short-term relationships are highlighted here. And so when this Pluto retrograde happens, it will be trine Jupiter. And so Jupiter is sitting in Taurus, and that's in your 8th house. And so this is transformation. So this is a lot of transformation energy. But with Jupiter in the mix, this is all about growth. This is about expanding maybe your knowledge or anything along those lines, anything that kind of furthers you along in whatever your pleasure pursuits are, because that's that 5th house energy. And so really positive from that perspective. This is kind of giving you that green light to go after what you really want here. We'll also have Pluto trine Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so Uranus in Taurus is very similar to Pluto in Aquarius energy. Uranus is another planet of transformation. This is more sudden transformation. In the sign of Taurus, Taurus is a very grounded, very practical type of energy, but that's your 8th house energy again. So we're talking about death and rebirth, any kind of transformation. This would be really removing anything that just doesn't work for you anymore. So while you're making internal changes, there's also something happening here externally as well. Could be related to maybe power and control issues. This could also be an indication that there might be something shifting within your money. And this would be money coming in from an outside source. So some sort of inheritance, something along the lines of maybe a spouse's income, your earned income. So again, money from an outside source. And again, with Jupiter kind of right there too, these changes could be very, very positive for you. This could indicate maybe getting some sort of bonus or maybe receiving some sort of payout in some way based on maybe changes that you're making to yourself and really maybe putting more passion into whatever it is that you're doing and getting paid for it, really. We'll also have Pluto sextile Mars in Aquarius. And so, Mars in Aries. Mars is the ruler of Aries. And so this is very natural for it to be here. It's just really amplifying that same energy. This is very action oriented, go getter. Let's just not hold back and go for it. that's sitting in your 7th house of personal relationships. And so it could be a significant other, could be a marriage type of relationship, something pretty significant. And what's happening now is when it comes to your passions and everything else, how is that transforming you? What is it that you enjoy doing from a creative standpoint that if maybe there was some blocks to doing it before, this would indicate some sort of transformation that will allow you to do more of what really just kind of motivates you here. And what it's doing is it's creating an opportunity for either go after having some sort of long-term relationship or really investing in some sort of long-term relationship, because this is very action-oriented. So this is something that you're going to do within that relationship to really benefit you, benefit the relationship itself as well. Again, that's creating an opportunity. You would have to take some sort of action there. So take that as it resonates. Not everybody is looking to have that type of relationship. You could just be more focused on the playful side of things, having those short-term relationships. We'll also have Pluto sextile Neptune and Pisces. And so with Pluto being in your 5th house of passions, children, creativity, it's also creating an opportunity for you to have the daily life that you want here, because that's what Neptune and Pisces represents for you. It is about, okay, this is my daily life. I've created this sort of, there's like these dreams about the life that you want to live for yourself. And so a lot of this transformation is also opening up doors for you to really go after that as well. And this is an opportunity that you would have to act on. We'll also have Pluto square Venus and Taurus. And so when it comes to the changes happening in your passions, in your hobbies, with your children, it is creating some sort of obstacle or challenge when it comes to, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this, because it's sitting in your 8th house. So this is in that house of death and rebirth, but this is Venus in that house. And so it could be creating obstacles to really harmonizing a relationship with another person, or it could be creating some sort of, I'm getting like some sort of rift, some sort of challenge when it comes to, because I'm really getting like this healing type of energy. So maybe you've been trying to heal from some sort of past trauma when it comes to relationships. So like power and control issues, something along those lines. Could have involved money, where somebody maybe held their income over your head and you had to do whatever they wanted in order for you to have that comfort that you were looking for. That could be a case that came out of nowhere. So I'm sure it's applicable to somebody, but this is giving you some sort of obstacle or challenge. And so it feels like whatever you're trying to do to kind of close in, to heal this wound, it feels like whatever transformation is taking place is kind of preventing that in a way. You can work with the energy. It's a square. It's not, I mean, this is not going to be a forever thing. You can work with the energy is really the point here. Then we have the new moon in Taurus. And so that's going to happen on the 7th at 11:22 p.m. Eastern time. And so when that happens, we'll have the sun, moon, Venus, Jupiter, and Uranus all in the sign of Taurus. So this is all sitting in your 8th house, that house of death and rebirth, transformation. Could be money from an outside source. And so when I look at right away, because we have the sun and the moon at the same point in the sky, it's really highlighting here what you value, because Taurus is what you value. And so when it comes to the transformation that you're undertaking, this could be something, because it's value, could be related to money for sure. There could be some sort of payout that's coming to light here, or you're learning of something that aligns with what you want. Maybe it is some sort of raise or some sort of bonus that is in alignment with what you want here. It could be something connected to the transformation overall, like I'm going to get rid of all the things that stopped me from being grounded in my everyday life, or maybe stopped me from being too realistic about my goals and my dreams, something along that line as well. It's really highlighting how you feel about the situation, showing you what belongs and maybe what doesn't. The sun and the moon will also be conjunct Venus and Jupiter, both in the sign of Taurus. So to talk about Venus a little bit here, Venus likes to bring things together. So when it comes to being practical, being grounded and secure, and really creating that security, that Venus in 8th house energy wants to bring things together. So this is where I was getting that kind of closed wound type of energy. It really wants to take whatever broke open and bring it back together in a better way. And that's what's trying to happen here. And so love to see that, because it is a very positive energy. It is about, you know, what is it that you value, expanding on what you value, especially with that Jupiter energy also in the mix, because what is it that you want to grow? This could really be an indication that you're going to get some sort of windfall from an outside source. Some money is coming towards you. It feels like that's a pretty strong energy. We'll also have the sun and moon conjunct Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so if there was anything that maybe prevented that from happening, that obstacles being removed, a little bit different here with Uranus because it's not just about removing obstacles. It's really about removing any debris, any structures that might have really stood in your way. Could be that as well. And so it's really, it could be highlighting here a lot of financial security is coming your way, and it comes from an outside source. We'll also have the sun and moon sextile Neptune and Pisces. And so maybe this windfall that you might be getting is creating an opportunity for you to have the daily life that you're looking for. There could be something connected to this that is just opening up doors, really setting you up for what it is that you're trying to accomplish in your daily life. What kind of life do you want to live here is really what's being highlighted. And if it's not connected to money, it is connected to whatever is transforming within you, whatever might be shaken loose because it just doesn't belong anymore. And so now it's opening up doors for you. We'll also have Mercury enter the sign of Taurus. And so that's going to happen on the 15th at 1:05 p.m. Eastern time. And so when this happens, we'll have Mercury, Venus, Sun, Jupiter, and Uranus all in the sign of Taurus. Told you there was a lot of Taurus energy. It is definitely hitting home for you. But this is really hitting your 8th house in a really, really positive way. I don't always see it hit this way, but these are really positive aspects. Now that we're past the retrograde shadow, so Mercury was retrograde until April 25th, and it's been in its post shadow until the 13th. So this is 2 days past it. So Mercury fully direct, really no room for misinterpretation, more of like taking people at their word at this point and really understanding that what they mean is what they're saying. We will have Mercury in Taurus trine the moon in Leo. And so the trine is a really great energy to work with. It's similar to like a Jupiter type of energy where it just wants to grow and expand and really kind of highlight what it is that you want here. And the moon in Leo is all about your creative expression. So we've got Mercury in Taurus, it's all about grounded expression. And then we've got the moon in Leo, which is creative expression. And so when it comes to maybe some sort of transformation or really money from an outside source, having some sort of conversation here, maybe in your group of friends, you might have somebody in your friend group who works with finances that you would go to for advice. This would be something along those lines. Like, can we have a conversation? Is there something here about maybe growing the money that I received from this outside source, or talking to somebody in that way? It is some sort of, it's a very authentic type of conversation. Leo is also very, very authentic. So there's a lot of positivity connected to it. If it's not about money here, then it is just about what's changing within you and having really positive conversations with your friends about these things that you're noticing about yourself, the way that you're kind of growing as a person. We'll also have Mercury square Pluto in Aquarius. And so we've got your 8th house, 5th house energy coming into play again. That Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is going to come up a few times during the month here. And so when it comes to those changes that are happening within you, when it comes to pursuing your passions, maybe even your children, there might be some way that you're understanding the situation now that's a little bit different than the way that you used to. Because Mercury is not just about communication, it is also about processing information. And so that could be happening here where you're just seeing things differently than you would have before. That's also that 8th house energy. With Taurus in the mix, there's this emphasis on what you value and really keeping you grounded. And then on the 20th, we'll have the sun enter Gemini. So that's going to happen at 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. And so when this happens, the sun right away will be conjunct Venus, Jupiter, and Uranus, but they're still in Taurus. And so the sun in Gemini is another air sign. Very intelligent, very inquisitive, likes to get into the nitty-gritty, really understand the details of the situation. That is definitely Gemini's forte here. And so with this conjunction with Venus, Jupiter, and Uranus, this is really getting into the details of what growth you're going through, because the sun in Gemini is sitting in your 9th house, which is all about growth and expansion. So this is where higher education might come into play, learning a foreign language, some sort of foreign travel here. With Venus, Jupiter, and Uranus, it is about, okay, let's ground this in what really matters to me. I want to grow the important pieces here. I kind of want to leave the rest behind. A lot of that really, really positive energy when the sun enters Gemini for you. But when the sun enters Gemini, we'll also have it trine Pluto retrograde. And so Again, really positive here because the growth that you're looking for is really in alignment with those changes that are happening within that creativity house for you. So it could be children, could be short-term relationships, could be hobbies, things like that. And so what it is that you're trying to grow is in alignment with what changes are taking place. And then we'll also have the sun sextile Neptune in Pisces. And so Neptune and Pisces, again, sitting in your 6th house. This is your daily routines. This is your daily life. What kind of life do you want to live here? Because that's the goal. That's the dream. That's what Neptune and Pisces is all about. And with the sun in Gemini and your growth, like, okay, I'm going through this change and I'm making some adjustments to my life and I'm growing myself. How does that impact your daily life? Well, it's giving you an opportunity to really go after the type of life that you want. This is a sextile, so it is an opportunity. It's not something that's just going to be handed to you. So really, really positive month. I don't usually see, especially when it comes to these kinds of transformations, again, not as positive as I am seeing this right now. Then we'll have the full moon in Sagittarius on the 23rd. And so that's going to happen at 9:53 in the morning. And so when it happens, you have the sun and the moon. They're at opposite points in the sky. We've got the sun in Gemini that wants to know all the details about everything. Then we've got the moon in Sagittarius, which is all about high level, tell me the truth of the situation, don't lie to me at all. But I really am trying to see the big picture here. And so that is that Sagittarius energy versus the Gemini. And so what this is doing for you is the sun in Gemini, you're really trying to get into the details on how you need to grow. What is your next pursuit? What are you looking for here? And then we've got the moon in Sagittarius sitting in your 3rd house, and your 3rd house is communication. And so maybe there's something here about, okay, if I'm going to grow, maybe I'm not communicating what exactly I want here in the way that makes it come true, or a way that gives me what my next steps need to be. Maybe you're not very clear on what your vision is. And so now it's really difficult for you to kind of see yourself and maybe even communicate exactly what you want because you're not clear. That would be the type of energy that would be coming out with this opposition. There is a lot of energy happening during the full moon, so just bear with me. We will have the sun conjunct Jupiter, Venus, and Uranus, all in the sign of Taurus. And so we did talk about that, really kind of highlighting here where you want to grow, what you need to leave behind, really grounding it in what you value and making sure that's what you're expanding as far as what you want to grow there. But we'll have the moon opposite all of those planets. And so when this happens, this is about, okay, well, if I'm not very clear on what my big picture is, because that can also be the moon in Sagittarius, the moon tends to hide things. Even though this is the full moon in Sagittarius, there might be something here that hasn't really come to light, or maybe you're just starting to realize the truth of the situation and maybe what you had previously started out on during the new moon in Sagittarius, roughly 6 months ago. What started for you then? Maybe how did that progress and what needs to change here? Because there's something about this moon in Sagittarius and the way that you're thinking about it and the growth that you're going after that is out of alignment with maybe something that you did start 6 months ago. So there's some sort of shift happening now that's very different than what you're used to, but what's happening right now does seem to be a better transition for you. So you can work with this energy when it's in opposition like this. It just does require work, and this actually requires more work than what a square would, because this is really that push-pull energy. Well, but I believe this, and I remember this, and this is what I've always grounded myself in. That can also be moon in Sagittarius, and maybe that's creating some sort of resistance to the change as well. We'll also have the moon trine Neptune in Pisces, and so trine Neptune in Pisces. So there was maybe something that you started 6 months ago. Maybe you started going down the path of trying to create the life for yourself that you want to live. And so there might be something about that now that's coming to light that says, okay, well, I went down this path, but maybe I didn't have a clear understanding of the details or the step-by-step and how I need to get there. Now I'm understanding it better. Now I need to make some modifications. This trine energy is an easy flowing energy. And so when you start to really understand the big picture or the truth of the situation, it is going to open up and kind of give you that path to the life that you want here. The sun sextile Neptune in Pisces these are both positive. So this is creating an opportunity now for you to go after the daily life that you want, really understanding this transformation that's underway, this growth that you're going through, because you're definitely being reborn in some sort of way here. With the full moon, we also have the sun trine Pluto retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. And so this is 9th house, 5th house. And so growth. Growth is going to be the name of the game here, because what you're trying to do, take all those changes, those internal changes that are happening within your passions, your hobbies, maybe even with your children, and then it's giving you some sort of leverage to use to grow yourself and really understand how deep of a transition this is going to be, how much growth potential really exists, because it might just be opening up more and more doors for you that you didn't ever even realize existed. We'll also have the moon sextile Pluto retrograde. And so a sextile does create an opportunity here. And so this is between your 3rd house and your 5th house. And so these changes that are taking place, it's giving you an opportunity to really think about the changes that are happening. What kind of modifications do you want to make? Maybe even talking about those modifications that you want to make to your growth kind of potential strategy, things like that. And then on the same day, just later in the day, we will have Venus enter Gemini. So again, on the 23rd, where the full moon happened at 9:53 in the morning, this is happening at 4:31 in the afternoon. And so now we have Venus. Venus is moving into Gemini. This I really love, because Venus is harmony. It rules relationships. It's the ruler of your sign. And sitting here in the sign of Gemini, it's about being very open and friendly and maybe flirtatious too. So it's a good time to talk to people, get to know people. And Venus and the Sun in a conjunction here, it's really the questions that you're asking, everything that's coming to light, the conversations that you're having with other people, they're probably very detail oriented. You're very inquisitive right now, but it's all with this understanding of getting to know somebody better. It's really kind of understanding who they are, what they like, what they don't like, that kind of conversation. So if you are interested in dating, this might be a good time for you, because it does look like those conversations are going to be pretty easygoing. We'll also have Venus conjunct Jupiter and Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so when it comes to this growth and expansion that you're looking for here, anything that just doesn't belong, going to go away. Really about growing all of those things that really matter the most to you. We'll also have Venus trine Pluto retrograde. And so this Pluto retrograde in your 5th house, all of these changes, all of this transformation really blends easily with the growth that you're going through and the way that you're going about it. It's almost like it's building a lot of self-confidence within you, and you're kind of really open and just available to talk to other people and get to know other people and just really enjoy their company, because that's what Venus energy is all about. We also have Venus opposite the moon in Sagittarius. And so this could indicate maybe you're being a little bit too direct in your conversation, because this is an opposition. So how much do you really want to reveal about yourself versus kind of keep it a little bit of a mystery? And Venus does also create a sextile with Neptune and Pisces, where it's just opening up doors for you. The way that you're talking to people, the conversations that you're having, just your entire mannerisms right now, it is opening up possibilities for you to have the life that you're looking for. So again, if you, these aren't dating houses, but I'm definitely getting that kind of energy with Venus and Gemini. This might be a time where you just feel very bold and go up and start talking to somebody, or you meet somebody through a dating app or through friends, whatever it is. But a lot of this kind of conversation, and it could open up doors for you to have the life that you're looking for. And then we have the other benefic planets. So we have 2 benefic planets. We have Venus and we have Jupiter. Venus moved into Gemini on the 23rd. Jupiter moves into Gemini on the 25th. So really positive here. That's going to happen at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. And so we'll have the Sun, Venus, and Jupiter all in Gemini. This is a lot of expressing yourself, what you value, what you want, what you're growing here, really getting into the details of all of it. Love to see it. It's all sitting in that house of higher education, long distance travel, that really growth and big picture. Think big picture when you think about your growth here. We'll also have Jupiter conjunct Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so again, anything here that's just not grounded in your growth strategy, it just doesn't belong here anymore. It's letting go. It's not holding on to that type of energy anymore, because this is what's happening here with that Taurus energy sitting in your 8th house. It is about that death and rebirth. It is about letting go and going after exactly what you want. We'll also have Jupiter trine Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so when it comes to those changes, those internal changes happening within your creative house, hobbies, passions, children, short-term relationships, things like that, it is blending really well with the growth that you're going through. And so again, more of that energy being highlighted, really seeing more of those details here and how that all can play out and what kind of doors it's opening up for you. Because Jupiter will also be sextile Neptune and Pisces. And so Neptune and Pisces, what kind of life do you want to live? This expansion, this growth that you're going through is really giving you a lot of opportunities here to take action, go after exactly what you want. What kind of life do you want to live? This is probably one of the best readings that I've done in that I can remember in recent memory. And I think that's only because I thought April was just going to be a little traumatic. But we're in May, and so May has a lot of positive things happening here. It's a lot of like this death and rebirth is taking place here. And so Libra, this is your reading. I hope it resonates. If it did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care.